It's Kirby Ray, and today I have the honor of interviewing Brant Hutchcraft, Mike Kokenauer, and Derek Hux. These are classic era members of the band Enchanter that has recently reformed. Welcome to the studio, guys.
Thank you, Kirby. Thank you for having us.
So, Brant, I know that online you've got a new site that has a lot of some of the songs from the past and images from the past, and you brought Enchanter back. And if you would start out the interview by telling me a little about what got the guys back together.
What happened was, a lot of people over the years have been asking me about the Enchanter stuff. Now, of course, naturally going and getting all that stuff reduplicated, repressed, and putting it out in the market really isn't financially feasible. And anyway, I thought, well, I need to do something with it. And while we were hitting a little bit of a lull with Cycle to Ruin, with everyone's schedules going on, I thought I probably need to just go ahead and upload this stuff online so people can at least hear it, anybody who's interested in hearing it. Okay, so that's what I started doing. I actually went in and I created a YouTube channel called Lungs of Iron Official, and Lungs of Iron has been my website address for many, many years, probably at least 22 years maybe. So I created Lungs of Iron Official, and it basically was going to involve all the Enchanter stuff and anything else that I've worked on that's not necessarily directly related to Cycle of Ruin. I keep everything separate. And so I started uploading all of the Enchanter stuff, and the overall reaction from people was more than what I expected, and very flattering too, might I add. And so about every week I would upload another album, and I ended up going and digging out a lot of the old photos and things from shows that we had done and promotional stuff that I had, stuff that normally would never see the light of day because there really wasn't an outlet in those days unless you went and paid to print it up or something. So I started kind of going through the archives and putting up a little bit of stuff at a time, and again, the reaction was very positive and actually very flattering, to say the least. And Mike had contacted me because he'd been looking at it also, and was saying that he had some riffs that he wanted me to hear. Well, I thought, well, yeah, sure, because Mike and I have wrote together many, many times, and he came on board during the midpoint with Enchanter and stuff like that, and he and I co-wrote a lot of the stuff, and also Mike and I worked in some side projects too, one with the Blade of Crone project, and there's probably a lot of stuff that Mike and I have done that we have just thrown away, that we decided not to do anything with it. So I made a trip to Mike's house, and he was playing some stuff for me. And of course, as Mike and I do, we just kind of started snowballing, and before you know it, in our mind, we have an album, okay, but not quite like that. But within a very short period of time, by that late afternoon, we had basically the groundwork for a song, and actually kind of the beginnings of a second one, didn't we? Kind of like some stuff that he had, and I ended up, going back home, and we just kind of bounced ideas back and forth, and he began tracking things, officially tracking the songs. And I went up, did vocals to them, and we're really, really, really liking this. And so I was figuring out a way, how do I market this? This thing's got to get out there. What do I need to do? So I had gone, and I had created a whole other band name, graphics, everything, a whole theme kind of wrapped around these songs. And initially, we were thinking about going into the doom genre, because that's kind of the vibe that we had about these songs. I don't want to give away too much now because the songs aren't out yet.
Right.
So that's kind of where we started kind of going with this a little bit. So I put the graphics and photos, some ideas, sent them to Mike. Mike was cool with everything. And then what happened was we were talking about, well, we need drums. Who are we going to get to play drums? And we kept kind of bouncing around a few things, a couple of names and stuff. But Derek's name, okay, right here, kept coming up a little bit. And I hadn't talked to Derek in a while. And so anyway, lo and behold, by chance, he and I literally almost run into each other in a convenience store near my hometown, your former hometown, And I said, well, Mike and I were just talking about getting with you and seeing if you're interested. And he was interested. And then a few phone calls, and before you know it or whatever, we've got a meeting and we're talking about things. And things begin to kind of escalate from there. And then Mike and I are talking again, and I had, the one name that I had picked out, plus I kind of had another name that I thought would really work for it. And we were kind of bouncing, options around. And then I sent this stuff to Derek, and he said he likes both, and then Mike likes both. And I said, it's not what I need to hear. I need to pick, somebody pick out one, And then I think, you and I were sitting I was in a parking lot, and returned a phone call, and I can't remember which one of us said it first, but the name Enchanter came up. Why not use the name Enchanter? Since you're undecided about these other names. And with Enchanter, of course, it kind of encompasses a lot of different of the metal genres, not just one.
Right.
And I thought, yeah, what do you think? And Mike says, yeah, and we talked a little bit about it. So then I dropped that on you, and you were all for it. And I thought, well, yeah, why not? Because we already have the fan base. We already have products starting in 1985 and on. And, I mean, what's it going to hurt? And so that, like, again, resurrecting Enchanter wasn't exactly the plan.
No.
Okay. No, it wasn't the plan. We were just starting a whole new kind of side project, because all of us have other stuff that we're involved in, not just me with Cycle of Ruin, but you've got some projects also, and so does Derek got some stuff, and even formal stuff that you've done when you toured and done all kinds of things. So, and like, this way, that stuff wouldn't get in the way. The Enchanter stuff, what was going to become Enchanter, wasn't going to get in the way of anybody else's projects. And so the more we talked, Enchanter seemed like the right thing to do. And by golly, that's what we did.
Yeah.
And so...
well, I'm so thrilled, the guys are back together. You guys are back to playing, with this band name. And, it's a band I've followed since the beginning, and I'm proud to have known of the band. And in the area here in the middle of the country, in the U.S., it was something that early on, I really think it was groundbreaking for anywhere on earth. But for this area, I really believe that. And the quality of all of the records, of Enchanter, the material that's on there, I mean, even your first stuff, if you do go to the YouTube page, the Lungs of Iron official page, and hear the Enchanter stuff, there are some very descriptive notes at the bottom of each video that explain how things were recorded. And I did want to ask you some questions about some of this, but I mean, even in the beginning, to me, the material was just top notch.
Thank you.
I do believe that.